Today, the conversation is going to be talking about generational curses. The lack of honesty creates generational curses. I'm going to explain why. Generational curses are a very real thing. Like, I've heard of them before, but I didn't know it was a biblical thing. I thought it was something like, people say generational curses, they say all type, spiritual people, right? Not necessarily Christians, but spiritual people. They say all the terms. I don't know if you ever heard, but like some people say, cancer runs in the family, diabetes run in the family, infidelity run in the family. Like, these things are generational curses because that's not normal stuff. When the Lord made Adam and Eve, he didn't put cancer into their bodies, right? But once sin was consumed, once sin was brought into the world, then we start developing these things, these unholy things. You know what I'm saying? I think a big root of why generational curses happen is because of the lack of honesty. And it starts young. The way to combat these generational curses is to be family. What's going on? How y'all doing today on this lovely Wednesday afternoon? It is the second Wednesday of 2026. So I hope y'all been having a blessed year so far. Today, the conversation is going to be talking about honesty, and it's going to be talking about generational curses. So how I came across this conversation, I was watching a video. It was this guy who was helping this lady, right? She was seeking him as counsel. It was a situation between her and her spouse, and it involved her family, right? It got to a point in the conversation where she was like, I don't know if I should tell the family. I don't know if I should, just keep it under wraps like I have been. He was telling her, absolutely, tell them, because it involves them. So that was like, I was like, bingo, I know exactly what my next video finna be about.
YouTube family, hold on now. Before you continue the video, I have a quick announcement to make. So right now we are on the road to 500 subs. As you see, we are at 270. I praise God for all of y'all. I thank y'all. So I'm gonna need y'all to do one of three things, right? I'm gonna need you to either like the video, either comment on the video, or subscribe, or do all three. So we're on the road to 500 subscribers. We trying to get that hype button activated. You see what I'm saying? So once we hit that hype button, then boom, we able to glorify God even more than what we doing already right now. Make sure you like, either comment or subscribe, or do all three, and then yeah, we're gonna glorify God that way.
Right, it's gonna be about honesty. Because the lack of honesty creates generational curses. I'm going to explain why. We're going to go to Exodus 20 verse 5. It says, you shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of their parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me. So generational curses are a very real thing. It was something that I was unaware of until I really started this walk. Like, I've heard of them before, but I didn't know it was a biblical thing. I thought it was something like, people say karma. In reality, what karma is just reaping and sowing. But, people say generational curses. They say all type, spiritual people, right? Not necessarily Christians, but spiritual people. They say all the terms. So I heard of it, but when I seen the Bible saying this is what a generational curse is, I was like, man, that's deep. That's crazy. Now that it's real, like, let me start tracing back, stuff that I had going on. Upon further digging, I was able to realize, like, very prevalent issues within my whole family. It will be the same issue, and it'll run up through the whole family. I was able to trace it back, and I was like, wow, like, this stuff is real. I see, and I'm not taking the blame off of myself. That's not what I'm doing, because I take full accountability and responsibility for everything that I've ever did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a person. I'm subject to falling into sin. Now that I know better, of course I do better. But back then, under a generational curse, there's things that you don't know about that are just habits in your family that is, negative. And you're just living. It's normal to you, but it's actually a curse. I don't know if you ever heard, but like some people say, cancer runs in the family, diabetes run in the family, infidelity run in the family. Like, these things are generational curses because that's not normal stuff. It's not normal for you to just get cancer and your whole line is plagued with cancer. That's not normal, right? When the Lord made Adam and Eve, he didn't put cancer into their bodies, right? But once sin was consumed, once sin was brought into the world, then we start developing these things, these unholy things. With that being said, I think a big root of why generational curses happen is because of the lack of honesty. And it starts young. I'm gonna give grace to every single person out here that I'm finna, quote unquote call out. Right before my walk, like once I started reaping those seeds that I was planting and I really was going through it, like when I hit that rock bottom for real, I think I was mad at the world. I was mad at everybody. I was mad at everybody. Until I eventually, Lord made me have to take accountability for that. But I was really frustrated because I'm like, man, why didn't I know this? And why didn't I know this and this and this and this? Right? And as a kid, one thing I can say is that my parents definitely told me right from wrong. My parents definitely did that. But I'd say the world that we live in is evolving, right? Nothing new it happens under the sun. Of course, we know that. That's scripture as well. But the way how we're accessing certain things and knowledge and stuff like that is happening in different ways, way faster. Like, we have internet now. So it's like you 5 years old with a cell phone in your hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, things just happen a lot faster. It's a lot more connected than what it used to be. As your parents are raising you, they're growing up with you in a way, because the technology that we're just now getting, they're just now getting at the same time. You can't expect them to be perfect. You can't expect them to not let every single thing on lock. Like, there's certain things that you'll just be subject to, and it's because we're in a sinful world, right? It's certain things that you just go through in life that you can't avoid. I feel like moving forward, the things that I have learned from my own life, this is how I'll apply them. God willing, if I was to, have a family and have kids and this and that, I learned how important honesty and integrity is. And I'm not going to sit here and come on the camera and lie to y'all. Like, honesty and integrity is an easy thing to have, because it's not. It's super easy to be dishonest. It's super easy to not have integrity and fold, right? Like, I do it every day. I don't want that in me, you know what I'm saying? But I do it every day. Like, there's some sin that you just fall into, and then there's some sin where you do it, and it's like you kind of lie to yourself, like, okay, no, this is fine, right? You try to justify it within yourself. You're being dishonest by lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're not being integral by not standing on the word, right? So that's something that I'm still currently, you know what I'm saying? I try to combat that every single day, picking up your cross and things of that nature. But the way to combat these generational curses is to be honest. There's a scripture that says, if you grow a child up in one way, he won't leave that way, right? So even if, like, your child, if he strays away for a season in his life, he'll always have the seed planted that the Lord is always with him, and one day, maybe like the prodigal son, comes back to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically what happened to me, right? To prevent the future generations from going through certain things that you may have experienced that was detrimental in your life, you have to have some tough conversations with your kids early. Like I said, Lord willing, if you have kids, you have to have we have to have these conversations with our kids early. And I see it can be uncomfortable. It can feel uncomfortable, but it's for the sake of their life, right? You don't want to. I can completely, totally understand. It's like a child is innocent, right? So you kind of want to let them be a kid, toys and this and that, the third or whatever. I fully understand it. If your child grows up lacking key information of certain things that you may have went through, certain things that can protect them in the future, then they'll end up ultimately experiencing it for themselves, because they don't know how to combat these generational curses that they don't even know exist. Let's say it's something that was a generational curse in your family. Instead of telling your child, hey, look, don't have sex before marriage, that's it, and then not diving into it, that's not stopping me from nothing. That's not stopping, because it's not enough it's like, okay, but you told me not to get up in the middle of the night and get water as well, and I do that anyway. And it's like no repercussions. It's like the repercussions aren't severe enough to my knowledge for me to not want to do something, right? And that's a kid being a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, kids are rebellious by nature. It's just the world that we live in. So the point that I'm trying to make is, like, we have to explain we have to be open and honest with our children. Now, I'm not saying go into no gruesome details, but I'm saying, like, there are certain things that can be prevented if you have the knowledge. Like, if you're telling kids about, you know, hey, these people on the street with these white vans, this is why we don't go near them. You know what I'm saying? This is who they are, this is what they do, and this is why we don't go near them, and this is the repercussions, right? And then you go forward instead of telling somebody, hey, yeah, just avoid them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not enough information. And I think that's something that I have definitely learned, like, okay, I will apply this to the future generation, the generation that precedes me. That's what I will do. Because that's how you eliminate generational curses. That's how they don't spread. You know what I'm saying? Like, if, say, obesity in your family is a generational curse, if you tell your child, okay, first of all, you have to be an example. You got to be an example first. But second, if you tell your child, okay, this is why we don't eat like this, this is how we don't, if you do, this is the repercussions. And if you don't, then, you know, we'll end this trauma that's been going on in our family, right? And then you look down the line, and now you no longer have obese people in your family because that started as a young age. You planted that seed as a young age. Okay, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna work out, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. Now your child grows up to be somebody that's how they think. And then their child grows up to be somebody, and that's how they think. You know what I'm saying? Like, start planting those seeds, right? Be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't withhold information, right? Because ultimately, it's worth that uncomfortability. It's worth that uncomfortable moment for them not to experience it. I'd rather talk about something uncomfortable than to have them experience something uncomfortable, and now they have to face all the things that I faced before. Like, I think one of my highest goals in life is, like I said, if the Lord, you know, lends me some children one day, it's for them to not experience the same hardships that I experienced in my life. Granted, I'm not that old. I'm not that old, but that right there, even with me being this young and the little ounce of stuff that I experienced in my life, I consider so bad, I still don't want nobody to experience it, let alone out of my bloodline, right? Let alone out of the generations that precede me. Because trust me, believe me, I know people that experience way worse. That's like, some of the things that I heard are unfathomable, right? Because it's like, dang, compared to other people, I ain't went through nothing. But whatever I went through was enough to make me do this video for you right now. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of my main goals, is like, we gonna turn this around, and I'm gonna start planting good seeds early, right? I'm gonna start practicing being honest now, so then it's not like a thing where you asking me an impossible task, like, dang, how am I supposed to tell my child this? How am I supposed to tell them that? Like, it starts with you building that integrity now, you building a habit of being honest now. And so, you know, for future generations, it's already something that's instilled in you, and then they have an example to go back to. You know, like, you know, some kid might be like, well, just an example, some kid, your child might meet some kid down the road one day, and they're like, man, try this, da 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 da. And it's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that, right? They say, no, I'm not gonna do that. And that other kid asks, why not? Most people might think, well, dang, why not? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, why not? But nah, your child is gonna be like, well, nah, I have a father. My father doesn't do whatever it is that y'all trying to get me onto. And then I know what will happen if y'all try to get me. Like, you know what I'm saying? They have knowledge. They have knowledge. They're just not told, you know, this is right, this is wrong, and then no conversation. Like, no. You wanna have them have that knowledge so they can protect themselves. You know what I'm saying? The best that they can. Yeah, that's my video though. Generational curses, honesty. You have to have one to prevent the other, right? So If this video helped you, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Join the family today. We are on the way to 500 subscribers, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out.